Okay. All right. Let's I am okay. So, welcome everyone. Uh, I may have screwed everything up. The monkey cam is not working because I pushed buttons and then it disappeared and I can't bring it back. But one thing that I am trying is I'm actually dual casting. I'm simulcasting on YouTube, a normal show, and then I have to do it vertically for some reason on Twitch. We'll see how that works. Anyway, welcome to the show. The first day of the apocalypse. First full day, I should say. Things are going to get so incredibly bad that you, me, everyone else are going to not be able to keep up with the terrible news that's happening. That's basically the goal. This weekend, Trump and family rug pulled folks on 3 different coins. They've made a giant mockery of crypto, and a whole bunch of people that are like long-term crypto masters are now like, I'm done with it. I'm out. Because it's basically the only way you can make money on crypto is to create your own coin, rug pull everyone, and go, fuck you, right? And move on. Any of the uses of crypto that can be broadly applied to other systems that are just as good or to improve systems have not been implemented yet. And pretty much the only area that can be done is probably a blockchain for stocks. And T0 may end up having that be successful at some point, but everyone else is sort of there, yeah, like 97% of Bitcoin is owned by 1% of users. Donald Trump owns 80% of Trump coin. He rug pulled everyone, sold cajillions a day before he was required to report that stuff. And then they stripped the executive orders requiring folks to obey ethics rules in the White House, so they can now accept bribes and cash on the side, and work for other entities and lobby and do all these things at the same time. They also shut down the immigration website that allowed folks who are waiting for entry to the U.S. is gone, so there's no way for them to get a time to meet with officials and get court dates and things like that. So that's all broken. They wrote an executive order basically stripping the prescription drug plan from being funded. So insulin and other drugs are now going to fly through the roof once again. They cut all funding to improvement of infrastructure from the bipartisan infrastructure bill. I can't even keep up with all the things that they've managed to do so far. Trump is demanding that we renegotiate the U.S., Mexico, Canada trade agreement because he wants to be able to add tariffs to everybody. And the thing is that the dumbass who ripped apart NAFTA and built NAFTA 2.0, tariffs against Mexico and Canada are illegal. So his blustering to take away tariffs from everyone is just pointless. So he's like, I want to renegotiate. Why do you want to renegotiate? So you can put tariffs on your neighbors. So they're not going to renegotiate with you. They're going to be like, no, we're good. You wanted this in 2018, 2019. You got it. So suck it up. They're not going to renegotiate anything because you wrote into your law that they can't use tariffs. You're like, well, I'm going to use tariffs. Well, they're going to sue you in international court. They're going to sue you in U.S. courts. They're going to get WTO to sanction you. It's going to backfire on you. So Trump kind of put himself in a hole there because he's just a dumb idiot, and that's where we are. But expect to start seeing ICE raids. He released all the January 6 people because he needs brown shirts. It's going to get bad. It's going to get really bad. We got folks that tried to violently overthrow the government, whose own family members turned them in, right, and are now fearing for their safety because the psychopaths in their family are out and they know who turned them in and testified against them in court. So we're going to have murders, political violence. The Proud Boys are going to be back in the streets, like beating people in city centers like Portland. Stuart Rhodes and his Oath Keepers are all back together because, nothing like having a Nazi paramilitary group with their leadership all back intact. So that's going to bode well for everyone. So anyway, yay, here we are. Just having a grand old time watching the world burn. Elon full-on did the Nazi salute twice at the inauguration. People are like, no, he's just opening his heart. Fuck you, you apologist piece of shit. No, Elon is straight up 100% Nazi. That's why he made the face when he did it, right? Because he wasn't opening up his heart. If you're gonna open up your heart, this is opening up your heart. It's not opening up your heart. That's not. That's being a Nazi piece of shit. His own dad gave an interview last month talking about how proud he was that Elon is finally embracing the Nazi roots of his grandparents and becoming the apartheid South African like he always knew he could be, right? They're telling you exactly who they are. Elon's not out there being like, whoa, 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 that wasn't a Nazi salute. He has a whole bunch of sycophants and acolytes and little neckbeard turd balls all over there being like, no, that was a Nazi salute. Well, yeah, what is a Nazi salute? Exactly what he did, so shut the fuck up. He's a Nazi. Elon, you're a Nazi. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You know it, I know it, Bob Dole knows it, and he's dead. Also, it was funny. A live streamer during the inauguration. Elon's at the event, and this post Nazi time, and his eyes were like rolling back in his head because the ketamine's hitting really hard. And a live streamer's like, hey, let's see how Elon's doing over on his PoE2 account. And they log in, they look for him, and then look at that. Elon's managing to be at the inauguration while playing a video game at a very high level. That's amazing. That's why his eyes were rolling back in his head, because his Cyberlink chip in his brain was out there playing PoE2 at the same time as doing Nazi salutes to everyone. So he's just a lying sack of crap who is going to make everything worse in this world. And here we are, just getting to live in his world because he's so rich, we got to live in it. That's what it comes down to. Yay, us. All right, turn this intro off here. One of the problems with doing the simulcast thing is it actually turned on all the intros at once, and then it was taking me forever to turn them off. As well as somehow eliminating the monkey butt cam. She's right here. You can't quite see her if you're on the Twitch stream, but here we go. Here we are. All right, I have no idea if the Twitch comments will show up. Not a clue. Oh, it does. There's a multi-stream thing, so I can hit the multi-stream. The multi-stream. Will it... Okay. Did you guys see they hung an Elon effigy in Italy like they did Mussolini? Oh, fantastic. Well, there's a Twitch one. Fantastic. Hey. All right. Oh, no, that was YouTube. Never mind. That wasn't Twitch. Okay, so, anyway, where are we? We are to the chat. Oh, I should... GME went... whoop, whoop, just like it did on Friday. So it flew, was trying to get to 29, and they hammered it back down again, so that's all happening. Bill Coyne, hey Houston. Hey Bill Coyne. Zio My God, do with Nub. Happy birthday. Thank you. Zio My God, do with Nub. Also, when is RC going to get some balls? I don't know, man. It's hard to have huge balls when you have billions of dollars in your account, right? You're like, I got billions of dollars. Time is never of the essence anymore. And you're going to just sit there and enjoy... your yachts and your pools and private jets and luxurious boxes at sporting events and whatnot. So you may think like, oh, look at me, I'm like working so hard. But really, you're a billionaire doing billionaire things. Kelly Reed, there's been big swings in the Canadian dollar these past 24 hours. It strengthens after Trump said he wasn't going to impose tariffs, but then weekends after he said he might impose them February 1st. Shake my head. Can't wait for this flip-flopping for the next 4 years. Wild times. UVXY and GME going to hopefully pay off big from this crash. We'll see. I just need a payday so I can get me and my family somewhere, hopefully that's safer longer. And I hope you guys can do that too. Sean Chang, Post-inauguration blues. Time to drown my sorrows in Houston's show and a vat of gin and tonic. Corporate Walnut. Take your mind off the need for self-combustion. What geological considerations are there when determining where to put a landfill? Thank you, and maybe start yoga or something until we have money. Most landfills were started before there were ever geological considerations for them. Like, waste management has sort of been a progressive thing in Western society from the Middle Ages on. We had a pretty good rap on it in Greek, Roman, Ptolemaic, Carthaginian eras. They had managed to build sewers, water systems. They utilized landfills pretty well. You have to remember also the trash that was being left out. Like, you're throwing away glass, clay, and food waste, right? You're not leaching toxins out of like old batteries and, thalmine riddled melamine poison toothpaste bottles or whatever. Like, it's pretty, like, basically rocks and glass and food waste. So, rats and cats and things took care of the food waste. You can go to, okay, where's my Google Earth up? Google Earth, there we go. Okay, I got Google Earth up here. We will go to, where are you? There's Chrome. Why is, because that's beyond scene. Duh. Okay, Google Earth. Bam, it's up. No, it's not. That is not what I want. I don't want you. I want Google Earth. There we go. Okay. Google Earth. If you go out to Tunisia. All right, come on. I need you to get north for me. Okay. So, there's Suissa, Tunis. Okay, so Tunis. This was Carthage, or Carthage was out here basically, and here was the Punic ports of Carthage. If you can read about this, it was really impressive. They had this circular port with the ships they could launch all simultaneously, send them out to sea and do battle. The port here is all landfill. So this was all built with the waste of the people of Carthage. And you can actually climb out on this, and I have, in here? Maybe in the other room. I thought I had it somewhere. Where are you? Crap. I'm losing my relics, man. What did I do with you? Cat destroy you? Oh, crap. Crap. Well, somewhere, Houston may or may not have illegally abducted a little piece of trash from the port of Carthage. There's ancient landfill. There's a little teeny cap to a glass bottle, or in the neck to a glass bottle. I have no idea what I did with it, but don't tell anyone in Carthage. Might be wanted now in Tunisia. But why are you not able to get pixels, man? Come on. Get some pixels. Give me some pixels. Pixel it up. Pixels. I know it's not like 30-meter resolution here these days. Come on, Carthage. Well, anyway, what to do with waste has been a big thing for a long time. So, the Chinese built walls. You go to the Great Wall of China. Maybe we'll get some pixels for Great Wall of China here. It takes forever to zoom out. So we go to the Great Wall of China up here, bordering on Mongolia. Might as well do one of these structures up here, right? So the wall. There's 7,000 miles of wall between these places. Here we go. Here's this the highway, just the wall. That's the highway. Dang it. All right, here you go. Got some border clearing along there. Here's some sections. That's some sections of wall. There's some sections of wall right there. So when they built the Great Wall of China, they did so pretty much with slave and prison labor. Not all the prisons were slaves. Ancient China, we're talking population of ancient China, 60 million people, not like the 1.4 billion that's today. 60 million people, almost 700,000 of them were prisoners. So there was a huge portion of the population that were just permanently enslaved as prisoners, and they used them to build the wall. You go out there for thousands, hundreds of years, just slaves building the wall, prison slaves. And when you died, they took your corpse and they put it in the wall, and you became ballast for the rest of the wall. So inside the Great Wall of China is quite literally millions of bodies and their bones just crushed under rocks because they just use extra ballast for the wall. The same thing, they use trash, use other stuff for that. In medieval Europe, you pretty much just threw trash on the street and you hope that the rats and cats took care of it and the dogs and things. And they didn't really figure out a way to deal with it. It didn't occur to them to like take it to some central location and make their cities nice for hundreds, almost 1,000 years. Edinburgh. So the city of Edinburgh here, it was built in such a way that the wind would come through and take the smell out of town because people would just toss their chamber pots on the street and it smelled like turds. So the entire city is built to be as windy as possible because you wanted the wind to at least blow the smell out of town, so you have to like stew in it forever. So this ancient city here was built before they had a concept of like, maybe we should take our trash somewhere and have a sewer system. So that's why it's shaped the way it is. Now, modern times, you get into, the early 20th century, and we had water systems, we had sewage systems, we had electrical grids, but we still produce waste, like refuse. So we started creating landfills. And most landfills were municipal at first. So like here where I live, Bainbridge Island, okay, I gotta go, that's the landfill right there. So this is the old landfill on Bainbridge. It's all the transfer station. This dirt pile here is actually the capped landfill. And what the crazy thing is that this is a stream bed right here. So they filled in what was a gully or a little canyon with trash. So like, well, there's a natural hole in the ground. They filled that. So then anything that was bad in that stuff just leaked out, went downhill in a stream. Blop, 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 blop. But they started turning this into the sort of reclaimed project probably in the late 80s, early 90s. And then now it's a transfer station. So you bring your trash here, and then you throw it to giant dumpsters, and then huge trucks haul it away to somewhere else. Probably put it on a beach in Sri Lanka or something. But a lot of places had landfills like this, little community landfills that now are getting centralized, and they're end up in big giant commercial ones. There's a ski mountain in Michigan. Let's see if I can find it. It's like a 700-foot tall mountain in Michigan. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. I need to turn roads off. Roads are really annoying on here. Go away, roads. Okay. Point back north. Wonder if I can search it. Ski Mountain, Michigan, former landfill. Mount Trashmore, River Highlands. Okay, that's what it is. River Highlands. Come on, Google Earth. Everything's in my way of the screen here. River Highlands, Michigan. Oh, it's down here. Iron River Highlands. This is what I'm thinking of. Is it? I thought it was further north. Nope, that is not at all. You liar. Ski Mountain, Michigan. Riverview Highlands. That's where I got it wrong. Okay. Riverview Highlands. Riverview Highlands. That's taking me to a golf course now. That is not what I'm looking at. Maybe this. Oh, this might be it. This might be the ski place right here. So yeah, that's it. So they got a golf course, and they got a little ski mountain that they turned landfill into. We have a golf course in Seattle that's also a former Mount Trashmore. If I go back across the country here, I go to Inner Bay. I think it's like Top Golf, and they built some other things there. So this is Inner Bay here. Inner Bay over here. Sorry. So they got a little executive course. They got like a Top Golf type driving range place. This was a landfill. in Seattle, so it's a municipal landfill. You have to imagine that everything is absolutely friggin' toxic. In Hilo, I know for a fact, because we did studies on it in one of my geography classes, the municipal dump in Hilo is like toxin central. And it is... shit. Is it? This might be it. Yeah, I think this is it. This is the municipal dump. They've done lots of capping, it looks like, over the years. It wasn't... oh, it's a skeet range now, too. But this thing, the volcanic rock is really porous. So if there's any heavy metals, toxins, whatever, it's going to seep down with the rainwater. Remember, Hilo gets 120, 200 inches of rain a year. It's going to seep down into the groundwater and then spread out and then dump out in the ocean. And Hilo Bay here, while it's connected to the ocean, is also the largest freshwater spring in the world. 700 million gallons a day of fresh water bubbles up into Hilo Bay from the groundwater sources in the Big Island. So this is really brackish. You don't want to go surfing in this. Although there have been times when a really perfect north swell hits, and right here at the river opening of the Wailuku River is an amazing break. And my roommate, before he was my roommate, he lived in a little house up here. He's like, "Oh, look at that break!" So I went out and surfed it, and something got him to the point where he was covered in bites or welts from parasites over every square inch of his body. We're talking nards, wiener, bottoms of feet, back, butthole. He was covered head to toe. He couldn't stand. He couldn't lay down. He couldn't sit. There was nothing he could do about it because of the pure toxic mess from 40,000 cesspools and this giant toxic waste dump flooding into the bay. You do not want to go swimming here. You don't want to go diving here. This is where we did our sailing races when I was on the sailing team, and you do not want to dump a boat in this. It's gross. So today, when you're making a landfill, you want to consider basically what's going to leak out of it. So you're going to have to monitor what goes into the trash, right? You're going to want to figure out where that waste flows to when it gets into the groundwater, because it will. So you're going to monitor how much it rains, what the local drainage is like. So that's why, for the most part, Americans ship their trash elsewhere and let it be someone else's problem, because we're a bunch of rich assholes, and that's what we do. There is if you're on the I forgot, if you're on the Twitch stream, you aren't seeing any of these maps. I wonder if I can. Oh well, I'll figure that out. I'll go to. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I can. Yes. Crap. No, I want to go Google Earth. Put that above everything. Put that above image. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm figuring out how to get some Google Earth in here for the Twitch people. There we go. All right. Where's it going to go? Oh, it's going to Yucca Mountain. That's right. Yucca Mountain. Yucca Mountain. So Yucca Mountain in Nevada. Here we go. So this is the Yucca Mountain Waste Repository. This is the giant series of caverns inside the earth where you enter a hole here, and you're inside these mountains, and that's where we want to store all of our nuclear waste we can't use anymore. And the people in Nevada are like, hell no. You're within 90 miles of population. Well, if you're within 90 miles of population, you are in the most remote areas in the entire United States. The groundwater here is really barren. You can see all these dry lake beds everywhere. Does not get much rain, does not get much weather. The groundwater moves at less than an inch a year. So when the geologists looked at places where they can store waste inside North America, Yucca Mountain was probably the most logical choice. Now, Google Earth, you still can't see Google Earth here because it looks like just nothing but ocean for folks. Let me see if I can get that centered a little bit. Okay. Oops. All right. Oh, where'd Google Earth go for everyone else? Great. What the fuck? So if I move it back, does it reappear? No, it's just gone. Ah, this whole simulcast thing is a pain in the ass. So now if you're on Twitch, you can see the Google Earth, but if you're on YouTube, you cannot. What the hell? That's not cool at all, man. What the... Well, that's it for Google Earth. Anyway, technical problems abound. You choose a site like Yucca Mountain because the groundwater moves an inch a year. You're 90 miles from the nearest population center, right? But people are like, no, but there's like fault systems there. Well, yeah, it's a mountain. There's fault systems everywhere. I'm sure wherever you are in flat Ohio, there's plenty of fault systems as well. Where there are mountains, or there have been mountains in the past, you're going to find faults. That's just how things work. How do you think groundwater becomes a spring? There's a fault. That's it. So you can try to scare people with this stuff, but as far as like the research done, figuring out Yucca Mountain is probably the best location inside the United States for solid waste, for nuclear waste. That's probably it. But yeah, it's just kind of how it works, man. We use shit. We got to put it somewhere. So yeah, you want to look at groundwater. You want to look at how leachy the soil is. You want to look at what you're going to be throwing away. One of the studies we did when I was in college was the copper. So lots of things have copper, electronics have copper, and then it corrodes and it will get into the groundwater and go out. And so we were doing studies on parts per million copper that were in the reefs in Hilo. But we basically showed that all this copper is coming from that landfill. And then some other people did projects on like lead from batteries, like lead acid batteries that were dumped there back in the 50s and stuff. And they're able to trace it back to those particular things using, radiometric dating and stuff. It's pretty cool. But yeah, we are wasteful, gross monsters. Anyway, Corporal Walnut, hope that answers some things for you. J-Dog, only 65 days left till Mariners home opener, so at least there's that. Yeah, the Mariners will have, again, the number one pitching and an absolutely useless offense. They're not spending any money. For you Europeans still watching, we'll talk baseball for a second. So the Mariners in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, most profitable team in baseball. They made more cash, like net profit, than any other team. And that large part of that is because they own their own television network, Root Sports, which is a regional sports network that broadcasts Alaska, Oregon, British Columbia, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Northern Nevada, Northern California. So they have a huge, broad reach, and they were on basic cable. So if you signed up for cable in any of those states, it was part of your basic cable program. It would just come with your CNN and other basic cable shows. Last year, they made it premium cable. So you have to pay $20 a month in order to subscribe to see Mariners games. And they lost over 1 million subscribers. They had like 2 million subscribers. They lost half of them. And the other half, I think, probably are unsubscribing too. So they used to have Kraken games, Sounders games, the Portland Trail Blazers had their network, and all of them have since dropped Root Sports. They're no longer signed deals with them, and they've gone to like local broadcast networks to do all their games. So the Mariners, for making something like $400 million a year off of their television network, I think are now losing money on their television network. Because they're the only sport they show is now Mariners games with a whole bunch of like filler paid for advertising shows that they got. So they made a giant, huge, gargantuan mistake because now their ad revenue is way down. No one's paying money to buy those games. Like MLB Network is cheaper if you live in Wyoming than it is to do the Mariners channel. So I don't know if the Mariners have cash anymore. They may have blown it all last year. It sounded like they've got nothing to play with coming into this season. So they're going to, again, waste the number one pitching staff in all of baseball by having no offense. They're going to get a whole bunch of like 200 hitting, 38-year-old second baseman and try to make a team out of that. And the Mariners are going to miss the playoffs again. All because they were so greedy. They didn't do a supply and demand curve or a price maximization curve. Just go to a high school algebra class. They'll do the math for you and show you exactly where the sweet spot is. And that sweet spot was basic cable. So it's gone now. Oh well. My intro's gone off 3 times. Oh my gosh. How? There's no intros on. That's off. That's off. That's off. That's off. Stephanie L. The intro's gone off 3 times. You don't hear it. As far as birthright citizenship, executive order crap, will people be grandfathered in, you think? Or does Trump want to revoke current status for citizens? I have no idea why the intro is on. I don't see any of them on at the moment. That is driving me up the wall. What the hell? This whole simulcasting thing was a terrible idea. Trump wants to remove citizenship for people. Stephen Miller, who is the head of policy for Trump in his White House and his campaigns, mentioned in September 2023 that they will turbocharge the Office of Denaturalization. Denaturalization is removing citizenship from people. So they're going to go after, first they're going to go after undocumented immigrants, right? They're going to go after the undocumented immigrants. They're also going to go after documented immigrants. Once you run out of undocumented immigrants, you have this huge system in place that's job is to get immigrants, and you have a huge infrastructure of people who work on at private prisons who so you need to feed the beast, right? So you're going to start finding documented immigrants who piss you off, and you're going to start taking their citizenship. And then you're going to start looking for people that have the wrong name. That may have been, their parents may have not been citizens when they were born here, so they're anchor babies, or whatever you want to call it. And then they're going to go for them. And then they start going for political opponents, and they start stripping them of their citizenship. This is what you do in a fascist system. When Hitler was campaigning, he was saying, "Hey, these Jews don't belong here. These gypsies don't belong here. They're not real Germans. We're gonna deport them." And everyone's like, "Woo, yeah, woo! They're not real Germans. Deport them, woo!" And so they set up camps, and you collect all the gypsies and all the Jews and all the people who have disabilities and all the gays, and you put them in the camps and you start deporting them. Well, guess what? Only a few of them actually were born outside of Germany. The rest of them were born in Germany. So there's nowhere to deport them to, right? And so these prisons, these camps start filling up and filling up and filling up and filling up. And you have nowhere to put them because, France is like, "Oh, I'll take them," right? Because they weren't French. They're a bunch of German-speaking Jews who've been there for 800 years in Germania. And there's nowhere to put them. So you have to have a final solution to that problem. And that is you kill them all, right? That's what we're going to do here in the United States. We're going to set up giant camps. We're going to deport everybody. But it won't be everyone who has a place to go. We'll have like DACA kids who've never been outside the country. We'll have anchor babies who know nothing but America. They aren't going back to India or Mexico or El Salvador. They're Americans, right? So not like El Salvador, like, "Well, I'll take them," right? Because they aren't El Salvadorian. So you're going to get these people who are going to be stuck in these camps, and the camps are going to fill up. They're going to fill up, and they're going to fill up, and they're going to fill up, and then you got a problem. And you have to make a final solution to that problem. They're going to start, that is the natural progression when you start creating things like this. We are leaving a system, a democratic system of truth, honesty, and fairness, which was the goal along, and becoming one that's going to bend to the whim of a ruler. We no longer have leaders, we have a ruler. So get used to it. Me broadcasting, talking about this right now, probably going to be illegal in a couple of years. I probably won't be allowed to do this. And I'll see you in the camps. So here we are. Did I miss a super chat? I think I missed one. Oh my goodness, I did. I'm sorry. I missed a couple green chats. Louis, feed us GME News, feed us BPYQ News, and DJT, lol. GME, nothing happened with GME, that little puny pop. BBYQ, they did their quarterly update filings have been popping up, but that's just on the going concern. That's not the final stuff. No Labs announced that they're doing a licensing program for their tech, which is something actually when Ron was on last year, we talked about it, about the possibility of licensing the tech to others. So looks like they're going to start taking making sales to license this tech into Apple Watches or whatever. So that stuff can be coming. Javier Martinez super chats. Happy birthday, Houston. Elon is a Nazi, and people are denying it. Shake my head. He is. 100%. Elon is a Nazi. Julio, Ross Ulbricht just pardoned. Commence rant. I mean, all the... Oh my gosh. All the J6ers and... okay. So, Ross is the guy who sort of put the dark web on the map. If you don't know who Ross is, he's the one who created Silk Road. Silk Road allowed you to use cryptocurrency to purchase illegal things. You wanted to buy drugs, he get it for you. You wanted to buy an RPG, he get it for you, right? It became like the Craigslist of the dark web, and you would trade, your cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, whatever, for your bag of cocaine, your, box of hand grenades, your child sex slaves. You wanted to purchase an assassination of your wife? You could do so on Silk Road, right? So he made like Silk Road 1, Silk Road 2, Silk Road 3, because it kept getting shut down. They figure out where it was being hosted and then shut down the servers. And eventually they finally arrested him. He's not that he's younger than I am. He's only 40. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page right now. He's only 40. Yeah. So he just got pardoned. Yeah. He created an illegal network in which you could trade cryptocurrency for quite literally human beings, drugs, nuclear weapons materials, machine guns, bombs, toxic chemicals, biological weapons. It was truly a libertarian free-for-all. And he's a hero to some. But man. So he got life imprisonment without the possibility of parole and a $183 million fine. Man. Yikes. He's definitely... He's a full-on libertarian. Ulbricht attended University of Texas on a full academic scholarship and graduated in 2006 with a bachelor's degree in physics. Ulbricht received an additional scholarship to attend Pennsylvania State University, where he was in a master's program in materials sciences and engineering and studied crystallography. By the time Ulbricht graduated, he had become interested in libertarian economic theory and adhered to political philosophy of Ludwig von Mises. Oh my God. Everyone who adheres to Austrian school economics is the dumbest motherfucker. I don't get, like, Austrian school, nothing in practice in Austrian school actually plays out in real life. And so the basis of Austrian school economics is you can't test theories, because every single time you present the hypothesis in Austrian school, it doesn't work. They're purely supply side economics. They take no account into human behavior, human wants, human needs. It's all, that's where like billionaires or job creators crap comes from. When job creation actually comes from supply and demand. And if you control the supply, you control the demand, and therefore you get money. Whatever. Supported Ron Paul, promoted agorism, and participated in college debates to discuss his economic views. Ulbricht graduated from Penn State in 2009 and returned to Austin. He tried day trading and started a video game company. Both ventures failed. He eventually partnered with his friend Donnie Palmer Tree, to help build online used bookseller Good Wagon Books. So he started out selling books on the internet. Who else did that? So Palmer Tree, co-founder of Good Wagon Books, eventually moved to Dallas, leaving Ulbricht to run the bookseller by himself. Around this time, Ulbricht began planning Silk Road, initially called Underground Brokers. In his personal diary, he outlined his idea for a website where people could buy anything anonymously with no trail whatsoever that could lead back to them. Ulbricht's ex-girlfriend said, I remember when he had the idea, he said something about the Silk Road in Asia and what a big network it was. And that's what he wanted to create. So he thought it was a perfect name. Ulbricht alluded to Silk Road on his public LinkedIn page, where he discussed his wish to use economic theory as a means to abolish the use of coercion and aggression amongst mankind, and claimed, I am creating an economic situation to give people a first-hand experience of what it would be like to live in a world without the systematic use of force. It's beautiful. I mean, no one uses force whatsoever in the drug trade or in the human trafficking trade. That 7-year-old who's getting sold by the slaver to that dude somewhere else. It's just purely economic freedom, baby. That 7-year-old, I mean, sure, she's not free, but the two capitalists involved in transaction, they've never had nothing more free in their entire life. Silk Road ran as an onion service on the Tor network, which implements data encryption and routes through intermediary servers to anonymize the source and destination internet protocol address. And it's a VPN. By hosting his market on a Tor site, Ulbricht could conceal the server's address and thus location. Bitcoin cryptocurrency was used in transactions. While all Bitcoin transactions were recorded in a public ledger called the blockchain, users avoided linking their legal names to their cryptocurrency wallets, were able to conduct transactions with considerable anonymity. Ulbricht used the Dread Pirate Roberts username for Silk Roads. Although it's disputed whether he only used that account, he attributed his inspiration to creating the Silk Road Marketplace to the novel Alongside Night and the works of Samuel Edward Konkin III. So yeah, there's a hero of humanity right there. The guy that allows you to purchase blocks of heroin from terrorist organizations in Afghanistan, to trafficking children out of Latin American countries, to your basement somewhere in Pomona. So, yay, so glad he's been freed. Great step for mankind there. I wonder if they're going to let him launch Silk Road again, now that they pardoned him, right? Like, it's obviously not a crime, so you can launch that sucker back up again. So if you want to buy yourself a child sold in slavery, looks like you're going to get your chance over there on the Onion Network. So, hooray, right? Any more super chats? Or just, I don't know why the intro keeps playing. Makes no sense. They're all off. I don't know. Attempting to do simulcasts is terrible. I should never have done it. The monkey cam vanished, and so did Google Earth at some point. All right. Hey, I'm only an hour and 30 minutes behind in the chat already. We're getting lots of rants today. Okay, so did the corporate one, did the baseball one. Dan DeBachelor, Hyper Birthday Houston, big neutral floor trades for the past month on Jimmy. Not sold at ask or bid and millions of dollars worth. Tinfoil hat on. I think that there's a boatload of FTDs, a whole bunch of nakeds being created in the last few weeks, and it's got to go somewhere. But at the moment, we're gonna have a very, very, very ineffectual SEC. He's probably gonna let everything slide. It's really funny seeing all the crypto bros all of a sudden begging for Gary Gensler to come back. Like, Gary, come back! Now seeing like Trump is just rug pulling and grifting his followers. How weak of a constitution do you have to like give a grifter money and then be happy when he like rips you off? Like, oh man, he really got me for the 10th time. Have the people gotten those shoes yet that he was selling? I know they weren't supposed to ship until like August, like 6 months after they purchased them. Did the people ever get them? I wonder. Envoy Schriften der Elite. Still remember when you were saying back in the day that there was no big conspiracy to bring down the Western world? What the fuck are you talking about? Learn about the Chabad Lubavitch group, you spelled that wrong, and their teachings. Chabad is ultra-Orthodox Judaism. My roommate is Chabad. He's training to be a rabbi. I know about them. Sounds like you are going to try to blame the Jews for everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your stupid little comment. I'm going to put you in the hide user on this channel because I don't like Nazis on my channel there, Envoy. When I'm saying there was no conspiracy to bring down Western society, what the fuck are you talking about, you dumb piece of shit? No conspiracy? We have a motherfucking Trump in the White House whose entire net worth he owes to a bunch of Russians laundering their money through his crappy condos. He's wholly owned by the Russian government. The Russian government is not the West. The Russian government is the East, right? They hate the West. So yeah, there's a conspiracy. And it's not the friggin' ultra-Orthodox Jews who spend all their time reading Torah and hanging out with the bros. They don't do shit otherwise. They just read the Torah all day long and they yell at each other. That's the entire thing Chabad does, right? You can go to a Chabad meetup. I've gone to a couple with my roommate, and they're having like Sukkot or whatever, and you have a little barbecue and you eat vegetarian sushi, and you have a great time. Like, they're not out there doing anything except like doing the rituals, and that's it. Like, I'll admit there's some issues with ultra orthodox in Israel, in that they are sort of they don't have to do IDF conscription, their service, because they're religious people. All they do is read books all day long, right? But a whole bunch of them are very how to put it, Zionist, right? They're very far right. They vote for the far right parties, and they're militant, but they don't have to be a part of the military. So it's like, hey, let's go fight them. But you guys go fight them. I'm not going to do anything about that, right? So there's a rift between sort of mainstream Jews and others with that element of ultra orthodox and some Hasidics. But as far as like conspiracies, dude, they're all poor. Like, so pod guys, they're poor as shit. So you get some doctors and lawyers in there and stuff like that, but for the most part, they have no skills. They usually go to some sort of private school where all they learn is Torah. They don't learn anything else. They don't learn math. They don't learn how to read. They have no skills. They don't go off to college, and then they go to some sort of shul for becoming a rabbi. They take on a wife, and the wife does everything for them, and then that's it. That's kind of the the entire graft of it. The gist, I should say. So yeah. Get out of here, Envoy Schriften der Elite. Peach Sunday. Happy birthday, Houston. Been so depressed about the future of this country. Yeah. It is what it is. System 4 calls on rant. He's steaming, so am I. Are all these executive orders just for show? No. The executive orders... I'm going to take a sip of water because I haven't taken one yet. The executive orders serve two purposes. One is that's what they want. They want to get this stuff through. Two, they're doing so many of them that it's going to overwhelm the system. Basically, you want to overwhelm the news cycles. People can't keep up with what's going on. You want to overwhelm the legal system so that states attorneys general, ACLU, other NGO legal services cannot keep up with the legal fight and get spread thin. So you're going to ram through so many of these executive orders as you possibly can, right? And then you're counting on the fact that you control the judicial system, especially the Supreme Court. You're going to make sure that if lawsuits are filed, they get moved to things like the Fifth Circuit in Texas, or Fifth Circuit Court, and then specific places in Texas where you have very staunch, very Trump loyal judges who will just rubber stamp everything. One of the reasons why Elon moved everything to Texas is that he wants everyone to sue him at that one court that he owns. So yeah, their goal is to overwhelm the system and absolutely destroy us that way. Because if you're fighting too many fronts, you're going to lose all of them. Or you got to narrow it down and pick a couple, and then you let so much through that you lose anyway and you get surrounded. So that's their entire goal, and I think they're going to be very successful at it. I was mentioning today to a couple people that sent me messages that in the end, bird flu may be what saves us, because we're going to have hundreds of millions of people who are pro-Trump, Trump's the best, woo, who are acting as paramilitaries, acting as advisors, judges, etc. But they're also vehemently anti-vaccine, and they don't believe in social distancing and all that stuff. And so with a disease that's killing 51% of the affected, it's a great way to reduce their numbers in a hurry. The big problem is that there's a huge portion of the population who do not have the privilege of money, of being able to stay home during shutdowns. They're going to be the frontline workers again. They're going to be working in the hospitals. They're going to be working in the grocery stores. They're going to be working in distribution centers, and they're going to get sick and die and break down the entire system. And those folks, they may be apolitical, or they might be union members that support the downfall of the Trump administration. So there's going to be some trade-off there. But yeah, it's going to be completely mismanaged. When bird flu hits, it's going to be so mismanaged that there's going to be nothing that this administration does that's going to be effective, and millions upon millions upon millions are going to die. I won't be surprised if I don't die, that if I do a show, I got 259 of you in here right now, that 6 months into a bird flu pandemic, 50 of you show up, right? Because you're all in the hospital, you're all too sick to open a computer, or you're dead. This is going to be brutal. This is society-ending level of pandemic. We better hope that when it does that fifth and final gain of function, that somehow reduces the fatality rates. But you have to remember, it's 51% fatality rate when people have access to things like ECMO machines, and major hospitals might have one. So that means one person in every metro area basically getting proper treatment, and everyone else just sort of, I hope they make it, while your doctors and nurses are dropping like crazy. We'll look back at this and be like, oh, those are the halcyon days. We only feared what was coming next, rather than knowing full well the realization, the kinetic energy of the apocalypse happening. So, sorry not to cheer you up there, Peachy Sunday. J-Dog, holy Netflix Batman, $1,000 a share after beating earnings. That's crazy. That is nuts. So maybe they can afford to give us some third seasons of shows for once, rather than leaving us on second season cliffhangers and then never do. Or first season cliffhangers. Those are the worst. What pisses me off about Netflix is there'll be a show they never advertised ever. It came out in 2017. Never heard of it. All of a sudden, it'll be like, number one show this week. You're like, oh, I'll check it out. And you find out the show's 7 years old. You get totally hooked on it, and then it leaves you on a cliffhanger, and then nothing. That's it. Done. They never made another one. Pine Gap. They live on this cliffhanger. The Chinese are infiltrating the spy network, whatever. What was the other one? Teenage Bounty Hunters was hilarious and really well done. They left that on the cliffhanger. Come on, Netflix. Making trillions of dollars. Just give us second seasons of crap for once. Belgian Whale. I have a feeling your shows are going to have a depressing ring to them next 4 years. Oh, you know it. But at least we'll rant. Lobie, heading into a bookstore to buy hard copies of the Timothy Snyder and Heather Cox Richardson books I don't own yet. All right. Rose Moon, I'm scared for a future, and I hate that there's nothing I can do about it because I'm not rich. Yeah. I mean, members of the House and Senate weren't allowed to bring their wives to the inauguration because there wasn't room. But you see Jeff Bezos there with his wife, right? If you're an oligarch, you can bring your wife to the inauguration. But not if you're a sitting member of government. That's just extraneous. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's all so very gross. And, the people who have hundreds of billions of dollars, they're going to decide how we live our lives. It's not going to be you and me deciding it at some point. It's going to be them. We're getting really close to that. You watch the sci-fi movies, it's kind of dystopian sci-fi movies where it's like, my car is built by one corp, my home was built by one corp, my refrigerator is built by one corp, I work for one corp, my daughter's at one corp private school, my wife is a one corp cleaner, and a one corp controls everything. That's kind of what we're moving towards. Is we're going to lose the small business. We're going to lose the craftsmen. We're going to lose so much because all the work the FTC was doing, kind of breaking this stuff apart. Man, I'm going to miss Lena Khan so much. They really went hog wild in the last week trying to file as many lawsuits as they possibly could before leaving, because the norms are you sort of continue that stuff on, and then, while the new administration is there, you just continue that stuff on. I don't know if Trump's going to continue any of that, but there was that hope. But we're, I think Bezos said it was going to be a new era of merger acquisition, which may work out well briefly for us to get some wins in the market. But in the end, it's going to reduce competition, stagnate choice, stifle innovation, right? You guys ever watch Silicon Valley and Big Head? He's in the Rest and Divest Club, where they're getting paid like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to do nothing. That is because these tech companies from the 1990s on, whenever a new startup came up that had a couple of patents or might be something that can revolutionize or take over a market share of a big company steps in, pays whatever they can to buy out that little company, and then they make the founder of that company a founder at Google, a founder at Microsoft, a founder at Twitter, etc. And then they're paid to not do anything. You don't need to do anything, because what they don't want is they don't want you out there competing with them. So it's cheaper for them to buy your company for millions and to give you $600,000 a year in salary to do nothing than it is to have you out there competing against them. And that's where a lot of these huge monopolies have come from, is they just buy up everything that could possibly compete, and then they just take the entire market. That's why Google controls like 90% of all advertising on the internet, because they bought all the advertisers. If you came up with new tech to advertise, they bought you. So, maybe a get rich quick scheme is I should just found an internet company claiming that I have a new algorithm. They can get my ads across the internet at a better rate than Google ever will. And then they'll just buy me and bury whatever crappy patent I file. And then I can rest and divest at Google for hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Stephanie L. Super Chats, bird flu may save the planet too. I mean, if you kill off 49%, 51% of the entire planet, you really reduce carbon emissions almost immediately, right? I don't know if you saw those videos from spring 2020 when the shutdowns happened all over and people were social distancing, they weren't traveling and stuff. And you had cities like major megalopolises, it's metropolis, but it's megatropolis. Megatropolis? Is that what I'm saying? Yeah. We have these mega cities that all of a sudden people weren't like getting in their cabs, they weren't getting in their cars, they weren't commuting to work. In a city like Delhi, where the brown skies, suddenly all the smog disappeared and like wildlife came back into the city, and people were like, wow, I can breathe. It's amazing. And you had like elephants or rhinoceros kind of wandering around in towns, and because there weren't people to scare them away because they're inside. And it's amazing how quickly nature will come back. I saw a great video from this little resort in India where all the humans were gone, and so all the monkeys were having like a splashdown water park day in their pool, swinging from the trees, dropping in the pool, just having a great time horsing around because there are humans around. So they're like, this is awesome. It's pretty amazing how quickly it'll take over. If you ever need to know how quickly nature can take over at different rates, go somewhere moist. Talking like jungle, humid jungle here in the Pacific Northwest, right? How quickly an abandoned house, no one's mowing the lawn, etc., in just a few years, like shrunk, and it's grown over and it's covered. I had a neighbor. Let's see if I can see it. I don't know if Google Earth will pop up again. Will it? And it doesn't. It does on the Twitch stream for some reason, but does not. Maybe if I move it down there? Nope. That puts it below the cam. I don't understand. Crap. Well, anyway, I just tell the story because it doesn't pop up on the regular thing anymore. The first house I lived in, well, I lived in a youth hostel for a little bit when I moved to Hawaii. Then I was looking for a house. Then I lived in a van. The first house I lived in was the hippie commune. The Hare Krishnas, the butler group, the people that are associated with Tulsi Gabbard, those weirdos. So there was a driveway. There's a driveway, and then our house, and next to our driveway was a second house. So my porch kind of overlooked their backyard, and they had this giant bush in front of their house, this huge, giant tropical something or other, and I'd go by it every day. This big giant bush. Then one day, dudes are out there cutting the bush, like pruning it, and there was like a 1990 Mazda 323 was under that bush, and like, there's this abandoned car all of a sudden just emerged from this bush. They'd been there who knows how long. I was like, whoa, there's a car there, right? Within a month, the car was gone and there was a bush again. Like it just grew right back over as if they'd never done anything. That's how quickly humanity can be erased by the jungle. Imagine all those lost Mayan cities in Yucatan, Guatemala, Mexico, right? We didn't know they were there because the jungle overgrew them so quickly. When I was doing my grad studies in space studies, I wrote this paper on LiDAR. This whole class on remote sensing, so like using satellites and things to map stuff and LiDAR and whatnot. And LiDAR was being used to discover ancient cities all through the Americas that had been from overgrown jungle. And one of them was in Honduras. And so they, shined the lasers and did the laser mapping of all the stuff. And like, oh my goodness, looks like temples. So they sent an expedition into the deep jungles of Honduras to go find this ancient city. And, oh crap, I gotta get going. I need to wrap this story up and get the hell out of here. And in this ancient city, they realized people had been there for 500 years. Basically, conquistadors landed on the East Coast. Everyone started getting sick and dying from flu and cold viruses. They fled. They fled into the mountains, ended up in this other city where, of course, they're spreading the disease to everyone else. And they're sacrificing animals like crazy and people, trying to appease the gods. They don't know why everyone's dying and this apocalypse is happening. And then they all died. Jungle grew up, and it was like the wildlife hadn't seen a human being in 500 years. 500 years in this part of the jungle. So like cougars and jaguars didn't see humans as prey. They saw them like, I don't know what you are, right? You could like pet a wild puma because they'd never seen a human being before. And that's how quickly, if things go wrong, nature just has no record of you after that. Anyway, sorry for the short show. I did go 10 minutes too long. I gotta get the hell out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a show. I'm not sure what time. I'm doing lunch with friends. Maybe evening time. But I want you folks to have a great day. And this is the intro that should actually play because it's supposed to. Ready? Bam. Megapolis. There's another... I'm trying to figure out this whole dual output thing. It's really cramping my style. I was just trying to get some more views, dude. All right. Okay. Oh, an Off-Grid's Hero sent one. Thank you, Off-Grid Hero. Crypto is running. It's true. It is running. All right, I got out. Peace.